So I thought, oh my God, this is like one rural place and it's actually giving me the opportunity to really look at my purpose. You know what? Here when people are driving and there's a traffic jam, then you know that it's an accident, but people will not get down to actually go and help. People are just watching it, right?
Welcome back to the second episode of Brief Departure. And today we have a very special guest. Manji, we are almost 3 semesters in KY.
Yep.
Do you actually know anything about KY?
Not much really. It's just a place I study. But the details, I don't really know much.
So, I mean, Manji do not know a lot of KY. Me also. So, what if we talk to one of the OGs here?
Yes.
One of the people who have
Because we've been here for
very
like only 1 year, but the KY's history is very, very long.
Yeah,
so let's
the law is very
take a little bit more info for someone who has more expertise on this subject. And who else is better than?
So here it is, our beloved IELTS teacher, the head of English department, and personally my tutor, Miss Selvi. Alright, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So how do you feel right now?
Well, I am just, I think I'm very grateful as well that you actually called me up. But of course, hopefully that you're not going to drill me with that many questions because it's always been a norm that I actually drill students with questions, right? But I am grateful that you have invited me to actually introduce myself, right? Do I have to make a formal introduction?
I mean, some of the juniors don't really have IELTS with you,
Yes.
teach with you. So
Correct.
how about you introduce a bit about yourself?
Right. So my name is Selvi R. Mutia, right? I am an educator by passion, profession, and also purpose, right? So it's very interesting that my journey in education has come from very long back, right? I even started teaching right after my 6th form when I completed STPM, right? My teachers actually thought that I'd be very good at teaching and they took me as Guru Sandaran.
Guru Sandaran.
Yeah, so I was a Guru Sandaran for a bit in Sekolah Menengah Confucian, I was called there. Right, so I was teaching lower secondary, and then my journey continued that I went on to read TESOL, teaching of English as second language. That was my bachelor's degree, undergraduate. Then I continued my journey in teaching, and I started off with Sekolah Menengah Sultan Ahmad Shah, Cameron Highlands, right, where I saw the journey was interesting in terms of, so as a young kid, young as in like as a teenager at school, I found I had a bit of interest in language, being a literary, drama and debating society president, right? And we convent girls were very aggressive for some reason, that we always debate over everything. We don't really argue, but we debate quite a lot. So that journey started off, I guess, there, that I had some sort of interest with language. And I continued my career as a teacher, starting like this is now like what, 26 years that I've been teaching, right? So I started as a whole, yes. So with the government, and then obviously in 2010 came into College Yayasan UEM, right? And continued to teach at preschool. So I obtained a master's degree in psychology. So where did that come from? So interesting enough, at uni, for TESOL, we actually did psycholinguistics, where we actually did brain and language. And I found it interesting that language actually does determine the human behavior, right? I saw into leadership, a lot of things that actually caught my attention. This is why I continued my master's with University of Nottingham. And I actually had my Master of Science in Psychology. Right, and now here I am at College Yayasan UEM, right, 15 years, and I guess, and my journey still continues.
So initially, how did you find out or hear about KYUEM?
Okay, that's a very interesting story. Let me tell you a joke, right? So Job Street. I applied a job. Yeah, I was a head of department at Nirvana College in KL. And then I thought, okay, it's time that I move for something that's more solid in terms of teaching curriculums, because I was also teaching English there. So when you're teaching English in like some colleges where it is just seen as a subject but not meant for real university or lifelong learning in terms of language. So, and then Job Street. And you know what, when I first arrived at the guardhouse of College Yayasan UEM, I wanted to turn back. Because I thought, oh my God, this is like one rural place. And I told my husband, have I brought myself to a wrong environment? Because I'm going to be surrounded with some forestry area here. And well, I had to be very honest. Can I be honest?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I was thinking like this is another college, like it's in KL, you know, that students just do, because it was supposed to be College Yayasan United Engineering Malaysia. I thought it's some sort of like, you know, that kind of skill-based kind of university that, I mean, a college that I was going to come in. Okay, a bit, yeah, the name itself was a bit misleading, right?
Yeah.
So I was not wrong to believe that, okay, this is like some sort like KL. So it's like, so my husband was like, oh no, but you came all this way and, you know, why would you want to waste the time? Just attend the interview. It's like, it will be secondary whether you get it or not. It doesn't really matter. So I came in for the interview, right? And the headmaster that time was Mr. Neil Sutherland, right? And then what happened, that's even more interesting, right? I did my mock teaching and then I got the job. And I was trying to think about so many reasons to tell the human resources department that, oh, I have this and I'm going for a holiday to India. So probably like, it's okay if you have any other candidates, you can proceed with the candidate just with the intention to turn down the job. All right? But I guess this was my destiny, right? And then they actually were just very nice. I must say they were very nice. They were like accommodating to, oh, it's fine. It's okay. You can go for your holiday. You can come back. And, you know, we will still want to have you here. So here I am.
That's a great story, interesting story. So like, not gonna lie, your reaction
Was the
also
same as us,
the same
right?
as us
Yeah.
lah. Like, oh, where's the nearest city or like
Right, town, right? A township that you'll be thinking like,
Evans College in the middle of nowhere.
right, and you obviously like if you're on your way, you're passing by, you would still see monkeys, and I was like, okay, this is real rural area, right? So you don't have thought much, but anyway, here we are, right? And you realize that this is the place, right? This is a place where, honestly, and as a matter of fact, I grew. I grew a lot.
Personally?
Yes.
Like mentally, physically?
Yes.
Ooh, that's good.
Right. In the challenges that I met, that I was teaching the most intelligent students and the most creative, innovative, you know, you just name it. You had the cream of the country as well. So I would tell you that if to be very honest, I'll be lying if I were to say, oh, I had no challenges. It was just a bed of roses. No, it's not true. We had our challenges. Yeah. So, but I guess resilience probably, it taught me resilience. It taught me to actually challenge what was the norm that an educator should do. I moved forward, right?
I mean,
And,
students have a lot of their own personalities and
Correct,
and problems.
correct, exactly. And I am very grateful. I'm very grateful to God that every time that I'm tested, right, which means like, oh, this is a very interesting experience. We were actually in an assembly, and then we spotted this student. He had some sort of psychological disorder, right, where it's something like it was ADHD, right? And then we were jokingly saying that among us teachers, like, oh, okay, Mr. J, you are going to get this student, you know. And the next day when the class started, he was right there in my class. Right? And no, every time when I reflect, when I have such challenges, it's like God is actually giving me the opportunity to really look at my purpose. You know, what exactly is my purpose as an educator? So like I said, every opportunity was, I feel that I would be very grateful that I grew along with students, I learned, and I strongly believe that the learning process is a two-way and not just from me.
Definitely.
So I learned a lot from the students as well.
So, Ms. Selvi actually strike a lot of questions that we're going to ask
Oh, nice.
for our first segment. So I think the longer part is like for segment 2, which is your, how many years again?
Oh, 15 years.
15.
Yeah, but going lah, but then to be more exact, I've already passed 15, but it should be 15. But it's going 16 lah.
Okay.
Okay, right. Let's keep 15. Yeah.
Okay,
Segment 2. Okay.
15 years in KY. So segment 2. I mean, explain your feeling first day coming here. You already answered that.
Yes.
So, okay. So, how about the students here compared to all other students you taught before from other places? How it differs? I mean, the age also very different, right? So, can you explain?
Yeah, sure. Like, okay, when I was with the government schools, right? The upper secondary, of course, they are 16 and 17. Right, then when I was at college, then it was more towards the foundation program. So these kids are about 18, 19. And when I arrived in KY, but I like the part that you asked me, what exactly is the different here? It is very different, right? It's very different. I think every student that stepped into KY, they were unique by them, on their own. They were very unique on their own. And I think, why would I say they are very unique on their own? Not only it's about intelligence, right? They were very different, that they brought big ideas and dreams with them. So this is why I feel like students at KY is a bit more futuristic in mindset. That means they had a goal, they had a dream that they were chasing after, and that I was part of the dream. Whereas the students from the different like schools or whether the college is a bit more, their directions were pretty much straightforward, you know what I mean? So at KY, students also explore besides academics, and you hear about real people with real stories, like things they have gone through, whether they are rich, they are poor, there was a diverse group of students. I think that's the biggest difference. The diversity was really very clear.
Yeah.
So speaking of students chasing dreams, especially in KY, a lot of people actually resort to kiasu culture. Are you familiar with kiasu culture?
Yes, I am. Since I'm part of KY family and the community, right?
What's your opinion on kiasu culture as a whole?
Isn't that a strong identity of KY? That kiasu culture. I don't know if you agree with me, right? I think even they come without that culture. As soon as they arrive here, they conform to the culture,
Yeah, true.
right?
True, actually.
Kiasu, yeah,
Cannot be spelled without KY.
right? But again, but this kiasu culture, I think if you were to take it in a context of international or with some other countries, I think an individual is rather a kiasu on their very own. But here it takes like a group of people being kiasu together. So that so-called life, if I were to like tweak that word a bit, kiasuness is a bit more like supportive, like they have, no matter in whatever their daily routines or whatever, they know that everyone else is just the same and they are not abnormal about it, you see. So that's what I really think the kiasu culture about KY.
Interesting that you touched on that people come to KY and they conform to the culture, which is kiasu, right? So having people, especially at KY, who push themselves to the very limit in terms of academics, CCA and whatnot, do you think that students here push themselves too hard?
Well, to be very honest, yes. Right? We have to understand there's a lot of bridges that they have to get, right? So one of it is academic by itself, right? Let me tell you about like a few things in social context. Like if you would have been raised in the city, right? Probably you come from SK, or some hartamas, sekolah menengah hartamas, and someone coming from a very small rural area of Sarawak, for example, that we have actually seen students, right? Obviously, these students are going to struggle a lot, and their pain is very different, right? So I guess but what's the good part here is that they eventually, so they don't really, they're strong enough. I think when they come, the environment, like I said, when they start conforming, it is something that they're learning throughout the process. So which means that the kiasu culture actually teaches them adaptation as well, right? I mean, to be very honest with you, of course, we all know that there are failures and there are success about people surviving it and people don't survive it, right?
Yeah.
But I will still tell you that I'm sure statistics will show you that majority survived it, right? And heads up, coming from very rural environment into KY and looking at students coming from the city, which has already been nurtured with a lot of things that some of them don't really have it. But like I said, they then come forward. I've also seen students, like for example, who did not even speak English very well, or the proficiency was very low, end up becoming the student council president. Right. Okay. So what does that actually tell you? It's that learning processes. That's why I said we can tell you what are the success stories and the failures as well, right? But of course, there's more success stories than failures that we can actually look at.
Very good. So that adaptation skill, it's also needed, right, for you to pursue higher education, like
Exactly.
top unis like
Go to
Cambridge and
overseas.
Oxford, right? You need to catch up with their academic rigor.
Correct.
So this like macam starting.
What's a good bridge to get the difference?
Yeah.
I think KY teaches every student cultural intelligence, adaptation, right? Of course, some people struggle with it, but when you survive it, you would survive anywhere.
True.
Can put you around the world and you would just make it, right? I guess KY is kind of a good platform, to be very honest, in terms of whether, like I said, as a support system, that what they can actually learn here, they can take it very far when they go for their undergraduate, even postgraduate. You just assume that your undergraduate could be just like UK, and then postgraduate could be the US. Now that's going to be a different culture as a whole, right?
True.
So different places, different culture, but I guess this is the platform, right? They all actually learn, and I think then their cultural intelligence is very high. Okay?
True. We want to launch pad
The launch pad to the top university.
Yeah.
Something like that lah.
holistic person lah. they want to
I guess it's in the title.
So talking about memories here, right? Do you have any fond memories that you can share? Like
Yes.
the further back you go, better lah, because not a lot of people know it lah.
Yes. Okay, I think fond memories, right? I taught psychology at KYUEM, obviously for 7 years. And to be very honest, my fond memories are the students actually. So if you're asking me a reason, like why am I here? If that really reflects back to me as an educator, more than my profession, my passion and my purpose, the student actually was the greatest purpose lah, My memory of having classes until 11 p.m.
11 p.m.
right, for psychology, and my boys generally, as sweet as they are, leaving Cadbury chocolates on my desk to actually keep me going, right? And how they were so successful. So I have students who I taught then in 2010 who I'm actually attending marriages now, who are in a very high position as well, right? And there are one or two who have just completed PhDs at Cambridge, right, where I actually have Zoom calls. So fond memories are actually, even it was a long day and we never got tired actually, right? So the success stories of my students were another beautiful memory, I would say, we actually we helped one another, right? If I was imparting knowledge, they were learning. It was again they were making sure that all their chocolate bars and all their nice little notes would always keep me positive, Probably because we would sometimes just complain about like, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do that. There's so many things, but you know, for us to keep going, I think I had a very good support, and that they are still in touch with me today.
Oh, that's
Right?
great. That's great.
Yeah. So, and other beautiful memories is like doing everything. See, that's probably just me. You know, as a teacher, I don't just give out instructions. I've been in most activities. I sometimes turn to be like 18-year-old, so I just do it together.
I see.
Right? So I feel like those who were isolated, they had my support. Those who had psychological problems, I helped them through, right? And when they got better, I think those are really good memories. How I made C students into A stars in psychology, that was good memories, right? And how a B student in AS for psychology getting an A star at A2 was memories. Yeah,
Oh,
right?
what a comeback.
So I guess like, yeah, even for like whether it's like IELTS as well, I think until today that teaching is never a tiring thing, you know. I don't know if you know that I'm all over. Just because before I've arrived here, I'm at the initiative Blossom Ideas meeting, right? And then the English play that I'm about soon, as we hit we are the organizer of it. Then after that comes end of SAM dinner with ICC collaborating. So I guess, well, sometimes you think back and you be like, oh my God, how did I even manage and wrote that boat? That, you know, being so busy, but yet I actually had results, you know. So I think like these are all the beautiful memories of and I'm sure like my students writing when they're graduating with first class, you know, and you are being mentioned that you were one of the teachers that they remember. I think that's beautiful.
So it's
Right.
quite clear that you've been here for a long time, you passed students.
I've seen, like I said, I've seen the in and out of college at KYUEM.
Considering that fact, so how do you think KY has changed over the years, from the start from 2010 until now?
I think I would say individual differences. The generation has changed, you know what I mean? Probably, can I actually blame it on the advancement of technology? Maybe in the past, we had more interaction, right? But now it has reduced because I think mostly youngsters or students, they can manage their daily routines or their life just with some gadgets and devices where they don't really have. But in the past, students are always out there watching out for you because they want to chat. You know, if it's a bad day, they want to share with you, right? Now it's different. But in terms of intelligence and, you know, I think there's not much of a difference there. The dream or the purpose of like they want to become successful, I think the mindset is still the same, right? When they, like I said, when you come into KY, you conform into the culture, right?
Yeah.
So obviously you're talking about A stars and top universities, I guess. That remains the same. But in terms of that engagement and interaction, maybe slightly different, right? But it's still a great place that we all grew together and we are still growing together.
So any like past programs or events that are not here today?
Okay, under the Initiative Club, we have actually been to the most rural areas in Nepal, where we actually made mini libraries, right? I have an album on that. We build up mini libraries. Now I think that's not here, where our boys actually like picked up all the worn out furnitures, changing them into bookshelves. And then we going into the children's orphanage, and then we went to the market buying vegetables. So a group of us were cooking, and then one was like playing with the kids, and then we had lunch together. I think that's not there anymore, right? So I guess those are the ones that was also very beautiful, because I mean like going with students and staying there for like 9-10 days. So the bond, right, between us became even closer, right? I think that's a bit missing, but besides that, I think other events are still very traditionally done at KY, and that's the beautiful part as well. KY still keeps up to a certain value.
True. Like the malam kebudayaan and malam
Yes.
just this year kan kita ubah sikit.
Bangsawan.
This is the inaugural of KY.
Huh?
Itu like MK and you know lah. Since the start of KY pun.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Like memang-
Which is CP night, right? Malam Kebudayaan, yeah.
Oh, it's cultural performance.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's always the juniors will actually perform.
I see. So that's good. That's good.
So like
Keeping
throughout
culture.
your 50 years at KY, is there any like specific story that you find funny or inspiring that you would like to share?
Funny.
Like one specific one.
One of the funny ones is like when you see monkeys chasing students and the way they run is a bit funny sometimes, right? Students do tell you about a little bit of like all those horror stories that happen, but I don't know because I've never witnessed anything. So, but then if you have to believe, but sometimes you may really find that funny. And another funny, obviously, they give nicknames to some teachers. That's a bit funny that I thought in the past, right? I guess yeah, I think that's about it. Interesting enough.
How about sad stories?
Sad story.
Yeah, sad stories is like when students actually, very few, but this is okay to say it, right? When they are actually like sometimes they go through a psychological problem and it becomes like a prolonged thing, and when it comes to a time that there's nothing much that you can actually do to help, I think that's really, really very sad. I find it very sad for myself, or I think it's also like it bothers us so much that we can't really do much to make a change for the student.
But there are helps and other systems that would help them to cope here in KY, right? Like the counselling.
Yes,
so
yes.
tutor system, tutor duties, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So it does help some people.
That is in terms of psychological. How about in terms of academic? Those who are expected to succeed but end up not achieving their dreams. How about those stories? Is there any?
Yeah, there is. I mean, like, it's not about an end to the whole entire education journey. It doesn't work that way. They still end up, but it is just that they go to a local foreign university in Malaysia. So still, I guess it does actually give the opportunity for education as a whole for the undergraduate. But I think like that could be a sad part where their dreams could have been that they wanted to actually go abroad, right? But like I said, academics alone does not actually determine success. If you ask me personally, that's my very opinion, you know. You'd probably see same KY alumni, you know, graduating from local universities, or, you know, like UM, University Malaya, or even like those foreign local universities, and they are very successful as well. Yeah. So I think let's not be very success itself is a very subjective thing. So, I mean, what exactly is success? I mean, to me, success is not just about academics or qualification.
True.
I think success is about like you have acquired the right values that you will survive anywhere and you will be successful.
I think that's a great benchmark that people need to set in their life, right?
Correct. I think values before anything.
Yeah.
I think that's my line. Values before anything. So even as a teacher at KY, I think I'm very particular as a head as well. I think before even like teaching how to get a band 9, I think you better have the right values. Right? If you have the right values, then I don't have to teach you how to actually score a band 9. You will be able to make the band 9.
So what kind of values do you expect in a student?
Right. I think responsibility, self-responsibility is very important. That I think many of us, right, in today's time, we don't really think about ourselves. It's always about doing other people or something else. You know what I mean? So I guess it starts with you have to really like a soul searching. Like you know yourself, right? So you need to have self-respect. You feel like if you don't have the self-respect, you feel like, oh, I shouldn't be doing this to me. This is a bad thing for me, you know. But then how would you expect other people to actually give it, right? So I think these are the values: integrity, you know, be honest. It's okay to say don't know. You know, I learned that as a Malaysian initially when I first arrived here. I felt so threatened of having expatriate teachers teaching English and I have to teach English, right? Over time, how did I actually grow? I worked really hard, right? It wasn't easy because there was a mindset among Malaysian students that, oh, native speakers would be able to teach you better, right? I mean, accept the fact, that is a fact. And what happened after that was that you had better results than them, like some of the expatriate teachers. So that tells you that if you have the right values, right, such as whether you're hardworking, you know that the values have to help you to grow and you have them, you can be better.
True.
All right? Well, I'm not sure, you may have to do a social experiment whether is Miss Selvi a good IELTS teacher at College KYUEM.
My biased opinion said yes.
That is the reason why we submit our IELTS slip to her.
Yeah. Right.
Move on. Okay, so can you describe KY in 3 words? Just 3 words.
I like that. Challenging,
Challenging, okay.
right? Transformative.
Transformative.
It can actually change a person, transform you to be better.
Definitely.
And I think another word that I would describe, since I've been here long enough, is family.
Family.
Right?
Wow.
I think that's another value that I would like to instill in each and every one. But of course, it's not easy though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I think these are the 3 words that I can actually describe KY.
So what is it? Family.
Challenging is
Challenging.
obviously the first one.
Oh,
You go through that
challenging.
process,
Oh, it's
then
a
you
step.
transform.
It is step.
Yeah,
Oh,
then you
wow.
become a family,
Ah.
right?
So,
You are another success story of that alumni where you actually then become a family eventually, right?
so you hear that, folks? 3 words by Miss Selvi. Okay.
So how would you describe your experience teaching IELTS as opposed to teaching psychology here in KY?
I mean, how it differs with like people who taught chemistry, physics. So how it differs between you and them.
Oh, right. So are you saying that, like, how does it differ from me teaching more of a humanity subject?
So like
Understand?
language.
Yeah. Again, challenging,
Oh.
right? But okay, I think my experience it starts off difficult, right? And the outcome, it becomes successful,
Oh.
right? So you can see there's a journey there, right? So the journey is when they start, of course, we are all Malaysians and English is not our first language, right? And it also that many of us, we come from different parts of the country, right? So, and I guess majority of KY students do come from rural environments or boarding school, right? So the Malaysian education itself, if you know that English is a second language and many of them may not have acquired it in the rightful way, like I'm sure you didn't learn grammar by rules, right? You just know that, oh, grammar, I know.
This sounds nice.
What exactly is grammar? What did I say? Okay, tenses. You know, I know past tense, present tense, future tense. Is that grammar is just not about that, isn't it? And another thing that I find it a bit like what is the difference in teaching is like IELTS is a very technical subject that it caters to undergraduate. That means the burden on me, the challenge is that I prepare you for the undergraduate, right? And that gap between SPM and IELTS is a big gap.
True.
Right? But like I said, it starts difficult, then the journey goes on, that it differs for different individuals in a different way, right? And it's quite interesting as well. That's where we explore all our pedagogies and methodologies, what works and what does not work.
Yeah.
Then we become the gurus to tell you like this will work on you and this will not work on you, right? And I guess compared to, you said psychology. Now psychology is obviously a core CAIE subject. Psychology is also a very interesting. So both are actually used for lifelong.
True.
English for communication purposes, right?
Yeah.
And I think psychology is for your own well-being. That's what I will see, because the subjects, the core subjects that or the components that I was teaching for psychology was health psychology, right? That all students will take. Whereas the one that goes towards sciences, medical sciences, they will do abnormalities, right? Which also they cover all about abnormal affect, depression and all that, knowing things better, right? And the ones who are actually going towards all this accounting, law and all that, they will do the organizational psychology.
Oh, you can choose, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
So health, all of them. You have to do 2 specialist components, right? So health, you have already one. All of them, whether you're from sciences or humanities, all of us will do health. And health will actually help to ensure that you know how to care for yourself, right? Whereas you have an option, the second one, you have to do 2. Some will do abnormalities and some will do organizational psychology. But both are indeed, it could be, now what I like about language, whether I think both of them have equal weightage, because both can be applied in terms of practical, right? It's not about just knowledge, but you can apply it to yourself, you can apply it for improvement, like for organizational psychology, it teaches you on leadership, on being a good team player, which I think are key things, not just at university, but it's lifelong, whether in your job, you can take down a certain things down to your family, personal, right? So I think every content that I actually deliver or I give my students, it has a lot of practical application. So it's a lifelong learning process, I guess.
Considering psychology is very practical, so what part of the syllabus do you think is the most practical, and can you elaborate to us?
Okay, right. I think health psychology taught us a lot, and another one was social psychology. Right, being a very typical Malaysian in the past, right? One good example is helping behavior. Right. So we see in Malaysia when people are driving and there's a traffic jam, then you know that it's an accident, but people will not get down to actually go and help. People are just watching it, right? So the same thing that if you're seeing like, just like take KY for example, somebody just falls down and we don't react to the situation immediately, we will think like, oh, okay, fell. And in Malaysian context, a lot of people laugh at it. If it's your friend, you will laugh. See, you're just laughing, right? So it's a bit funny how the culture is quite different in Malaysia. When someone falls, actually we laugh. I don't know for some reason why we laugh, but that's the kind of norm here. Right, now the helping behavior taught very good things, like in the real world, where they did a lot of experiments, and they found that in some countries and some contexts, people don't help because they have to be responsible to it. Right? So one good one is like China. So in China, if you were to help someone who is met with an accident, you take them to the hospital, you will have to pay the hospital bill. Right? Okay? And in some contexts, people are not ready to help because maybe they are not that close, whereas there are other people standing close to the situation. They would expect it's known as the diffusion of responsibility. It's like, oh, there's so many people around, right? Like if he falls, if you are close by, you should react to the situation. Then I will like diffuse my responsibilities and say like, oh, no, okay. So there is a reason. There's a valid reason why people don't help. So the psychology part, which is really good, that it has taught me personally, and this is what I've actually even taught my students, I guess, is like we become less judgmental about certain things, right? So one that I apply in my teaching practice, when I have students of mixed ability in front of me, I don't judge. You are smart or you're not smart, it doesn't matter, right? So I don't judge them. So that's one of the best things that I ever learned. And many more good things like the health psychology, it teaches you a lot, watching out for side effects of medication. So we understand why people don't adhere to medical advice. Like you don't just take everything the doctor would say, okay, yeah, go back, this is the medicine I'm going to prescribe you. So this health psychology teaches you to actually read, okay, now if I take this medicine, I'm going to have this side effect. So in terms of a lot of psychological illnesses, right, those drugs that will be given or prescribed has very, very serious side effects. right? It can take you into another illness. It can lead, which is a sad thing, right? Sad thing. So this is why it's always good if it's still very mild. It's good to encourage with some sort of just therapy and not medication, right? This is what I like to advise even KY students. Sometimes I know it's not easy to overcome certain things, right? Because it's your emotion. See, you don't really, sometimes you can't really describe why you feel really sad, bad, angry, you know. There are certain times that you can never explain. And what's also very interesting is that I find sometimes psychology, it's just that whatever happens, maybe even books can't explain, you know. This is why like people do struggle to explain, you know, how they really feel about it. It's because sad is just not about sad, right? It just makes you weak maybe, right? So it's like a lot of things, and these are all interesting experience that I've seen both between, like I said, language and psychology. You told me, like, you asked me what was the difference, right? I think one leads to the other, right? In terms of practical application, both are equally very interesting.
So I guess it's clear that psychology really does let you see how human behavior works.
Yes, and that you are not judgmental of why people are behaving the way they are behaving. There must be a reason to it, right? Like now if I look at him and if he doesn't smile, I was like, oh, not very friendly of him. He doesn't even smile. He must be so stuck up, you know. You don't say that, you feel like, oh, he must be having a bad day, you know. You are more positive if you know it, right? But I think generally just because people do not have awareness to all this, so they just become very judgmental, like he's not very friendly, or he's not a type of friend I should go to, you know. So yeah, that's the good part of application. A lot of applications that we have learned.
Very closely related to one of the psychology books that I read. It's a very popular book. I don't know if you know about it. It's Surrounded by Idiots.
I think I've only seen the abstract at the back. No, I've not read.
It's about the 4 types of people.
Yeah, the 4 colors.
So, and how you deal with those kind of people?
I mean, it changes how I see people. Let's say, so I understand why they behave in a certain manner. Depending on the color.
So you become less judgmental.
It's a hard
No, I think that can lead to actually IELTS, that you are very critical in the way you think, critical thinking, right? That means when you look at a situation, you evaluate like before making up a conclusion. Yeah.
So, is there any particular book about psychology that you recommend to us?
Well, it's actually depending on like whether it's for self-improvement, because there's so many books actually, right? Or whether are you into like looking at, you want to find out a lot of things like why certain things is happening the way it's happening, and you're very curious, then I think you probably have to look at some research done in that field, right? In that part of the psychology. But like I said, if it's for self-improvement, there's so many books of different areas, like where do you really want to improve yourself, right? Communication. Then of course, psychology has thing that it'll tell you like, okay, you can go by the theoretical framework of the Yale communication model. It teaches you like, you know, how you actually communicate. Yeah, how do you actually really communicate? Learn your skills, up skills in communicating, right? What's really important when people are you are just say you are presenting something, you're giving a talk, when actually people pay attention, where people get disconnected. So as a presenter, you actually know that, okay, now I know this is after 5-10 minutes, okay, I have to watch out for my audience. You learn that the key thing in that is like engaging with your audience all the time, right? When I say engaging, probably many people don't really even have high contacts with their audience in like many different talks, right? Especially with big group. Yeah. So I think these are all the interesting things that actually psychology does cover though. Yeah.
Interesting subject.
Interesting subject.
Wish I could take it.
It's not available anymore.
This might not be related to books, but I'm not sure if this is true or not. But have you ever heard of imposter syndrome?
Yes.
What are your
Actually,
opinions?
I think it's a bit of a PNC lah. I've also heard in KY among students like a lot of different cases, but I think it's, to be very honest, by ethics, I don't think so we are able to talk about it, right? I think you have to come in like separately. then I think I could like share. Yeah.
When the camera shuts off.
Yeah. Actually, many. Like if you ask me, Yeah, I've actually sadly have seen many different cases, and there are also like some cases where you feel like there is a lot of biological explanation to it that there's not much you can do. It's an internal thing, right? Yeah, and these are some of the challenges as well, because I don't do clinical, you know what I mean? So if you're trying to help, and psychology is not just about like advising people or what to do. I don't think so it works like that at all, right? We have to be a good empathizer when we hear to certain things that we kind of fit ourselves into their shoes. Then if you can really feel them, then it's a total different ball game, the way you would deal with it, right? And I think that's psychology, right? It's not about showing interest. You must have a drive to that, being a good empathizer, fit yourself into the shoes, right?
So, wrap it up.
Yeah, it's been quite long, isn't it?
Yeah. So looking back throughout your 15 years in KY, or like before that, did you expect yourself to be who you are today? Like where you end up right here?
Right, not really. Right? So I guess I have grown so much with the environment. Okay, I think like I've never thought about being involved in so much of extracurricular activities that's helping underprivileged people, right? And I'm actually like, I must say I'm very grateful. I feel all praises to God for giving every opportunity that I was some part involved in helping, whether it's our students or whether outside the college, which has actually made my life more meaningful. Yes, right? Besides good teaching, I think KY has given me a lot of opportunity to work with my students to reach out for those who are in need.
So, for the final question,
So many.
Last one.
the last one, like,
You can keep it
sorry,
short.
so is there any like last words that you want to say for KY students, especially the seniors who are going to fly? Is there any like advice specifically that you want to give out?
Or the juniors.
Right.
I think you can look at the camera specifically.
Kita
mesti dia juga.
Right. I think values before anything. And I think keep dreaming big. Big dreams are good to help you to actually, like I said, challenge yourself, that it allows you to transform, right? Like I said. And I guess that's the outcome for being successful.
Really back to our
Right.
first question juga kan. Successful person.
Ada ke?
Apa?
Apa ni?
This guy got dementia. Tak apa lah. Okay. So I think that sounds about it.
Yeah, that's about it. Yes.
Alright. So thank you to Miss Selvi for coming to our podcast today. It's a very
Informative. Yeah,
and very
eye-opening podcast,
Yeah.
especially from a psychology perspective.
Right. Thank you so much for the opportunity to all of you. Just not the both of you, there's all the other people here. Behind the scene, I always admire people behind the scene as well. Right? I think there's a lot of hard work involved, right?
Yeah, true.
So thank you so much for the opportunity. If I've actually said something that's a little bit more sensitive or what, I apologize. But I guess like this is just part and parcel of my life and my experiences that I've had at KY. And like I've always said, in conclusion, KY is like a super place to grow with, right?
Alright.
Thank you.
You heard it, folks, from Miss Selvi herself. So that's all we have for today. And thank you for watching. And stay tuned for next episode.
Bye.
Bye. Right.
Alright.
Biar betul mu